Hey everybody, how's it going today? Hope you all are having a great day. I am so excited to be on here again. It's been so long since I came on a live stream to code, so I'm very excited for it to start. So today we are doing our mobile development track. So can we just know how many people here have built a mobile application before? Any kind of mobile application, Android, iOS. If maybe you built something for a Windows phone, who here has some experience building that? Oh, using Flutter, that's amazing because that's exactly what we'll be doing today as well. We will be using Flutter to make a mobile application. So good to see that. Yay, Team Flutter. Though I've been using React Native for a while, but it's just quicker to get things done and prototype using Flutter. Oh, interesting experience using Unity we have here. So was it a mobile game that was built using Unity, Yash? Or are we looking at something else? I am not living in India right now, but I am from India. Yes. Uh, no experience is needed for this live stream because we will try to sort of go from the very basics. I've not written any code before, and so I'll be doing everything on stream with all of you. So hopefully this will be fun. Uh, yes, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, so while we wait a couple of more minutes, I want all of you to make sure that you can go on the link that I've shared on the chat with you right now. And if you've not registered for the event, please go ahead and register for it. And if you have registered, then please make sure to go and check in for the event so that you can sort of say that you were there for the event and you took part and you get points for it and everything. Okay, so what will we be doing in this? Like, as you can see in the title, it's called track one. This is because we'll be doing this mobile development series in 3 tracks. So, on 3 different days, we'll be spending a bit of time and we'll create this mobile application from the ground up. Okay, super excited about this. So you can see like the differences between React Native and Flutter. I personally think that React Native is absolutely great. But when you sort of want to make quick stuff, which is technically the case with us since we only have 6 hours to make the whole thing, Flutter can be so good because you have your widgets which are very nicely styled and you have to put a little less effort into making your app look pretty. So which is why maybe Flutter will be a good experience. Yes, we will be using Firebase because it's just again simpler to get things going ground up. Definitely not something that's affordable on a larger scale, but for the purpose of the stream we will be using Firebase. So that brings me to the point that the 3 things that we need for today is Flutter, Firebase, and my most favorite tool, Figma. Because I personally believe that we cannot start making an app or a website or anything without designing it first. And while I'm not an amazing designer myself, I do not code without putting things on paper or putting things on Figma. So we'll try to do that first of all. We'll pick our idea and we'll try to design it right here on live stream. We can use Canva as well if that's what people are comfortable with. You can use Sketch, you can use Adobe XD. Pick a tool that you're comfortable with. I will get started with Figma since that's my comfort zone sort of there. Okay, so on that note, let's get started. And I will open up Figma. But before we do that, if you don't have Flutter, we can first go ahead and install Flutter on our systems as well. Okay, so here we have Figma, and I'll share a link for the Flutter description so that you can get started with installing Flutter on your systems. So let's go. Second, and here is your Flutter download link. I'm not sure how copy pastable these links are when they go on the comments, but I hope you all are able to access them. So here we are sharing the screen. Okay. Just a tiny second, minor glitch here, but fixed. Okay. Hopefully this will start working now. Sorry, folks. I might have to quit and rejoin. It's been a very tiny inconvenience right here. Very sorry about it. Okay, let's open Chrome again. I'm still here. That's nice. Hello, hello. Sorry about that. Part of the technical checkup that I probably missed because I recently switched to Mac OS. Completely forgot how security obsessed this operating system is, which is a great thing. But yeah, minor inconveniences here and there. So let's look at some stuff that we can do. So we'll be using Figma. The link is figma.com. You can easily sign in using your Google account, and that should work for most of you. It's a free software to use for personal use, so you wouldn't really have to pay anything to get started. Okay, so before we start designing, it will also be a good idea to first go ahead and install Flutter on our systems. So you can just go to the official Flutter website, links shared in the comment, and you can pick your platform. I'm assuming most of you will fall under either of these four categories. Since I have a Mac here, just download the zip. I have all of these steps done, so I'll be sort of skipping through them, but you can take 5-10 minutes to finish this while we get started with designing our app. So very easily we can just create a new design file, and now let's talk about what to make. So do you folks have any ideas about apps that you would want to build for this weekend? Sorry, for this week. uh, any thoughts that you have? While I have a thought in mind, I want to sort of know if there are other ideas that people have, and anything that you'd specifically like to make. A habit tracker, that sounds very great. These all sound like wonderful ideas. Where were they when I was trying to brainstorm for today? A week finder, what would that mean? Can you explain that? That sounds interesting. A habit tracker, and especially like making sure that you follow a habit for 28 days, would be so much fun because it's so hard to follow through on any of the habits that you want to build. And a job tracker is so useful. That would actually be pretty cool to make. And again, like while I'm coding this, I'll pick a specific idea, but everybody is sort of free to choose and code along on the ideas that they have. I'm just, you can treat me as a companion when you're coding along with me, but you can be working on completely different and separate projects. Random tourist place recommended near you, that could be super cool. Actually, you can set like a radius of how far you could want to go, and you can use some cool map APIs, and that would be pretty amazing. So yeah, this is a bunch of interesting stuff. I actually was not able to come up with something very unique, but I was thinking of making a platform where people can come together and learn languages from each other. Obviously, this is something that already exists quite a bit, but basically, it's your language tandem finder. That's how I think I'm going to call it right now. I'm super bad with names, so there's that. Okay, so first thing about whenever I am a Latin studying app, yes, that would be interesting. So you can, like, the app that I'm going to build right now could be an extension for Latin studying, because you can study any language on this platform with other people who already sort of speak the language. Very much depends on the network effect, but might be fun to make. I have the Dart SDK installed. Do I still need Flutter? Yes, you will still need Flutter because Flutter has its separate SDK that you would need to install. So yeah, that a habit breaking app. Okay, now we're coming up with like some groundbreaking ideas here. I wonder how a habit breaking app would be built. Like, how would you ensure that people are able to break away from the bad habits that they have? Mm, Maybe some sort of counter that you have these many days without smoking, or something of that sort. I am so excited to see all the ideas here, and I hope to see some cool projects submitted by all of you. Um, okay, so now let's get started with the designing process. And what I'm thinking of sort of doing is just going through some inspiration on Dribble and seeing if there's something exciting that we could have. So let's see. Installation instructions, I'm just going to keep them here. And let's look at language learning app UI designs. So usually it's good to like start with a bit of inspiration here and there and then start building our own thing. So let's see what designs are here. Mm, what I have in mind is like not a very cluttered UI, very simple stuff so that we can also code it easily and so that it's not cluttered and it's like sort of easy on the eye as well. I like how this is all very minimalistic. And this is a very good flashcards thing. I think somebody was talking about it. This could be actually be very useful for learning Latin. What else? Okay, so we have this. This also looks super cool. It have very nice graphics, and yeah. Okay, so the first thing would be that I'd sort of want to create a frame here, and we can just say that you take an iPhone Pro and you make a frame of it. And now let's think of like a simple color theme that we might want to give it. So again, these are all aesthetical things that I'm not super amazing with, so I always um, make use of a lot of tools here and there. So colors.co is not bad. Yeah, we can actually use it. So let's see if it gives us any interesting palette. Okay. Yep. Got it. And perfect. So I actually don't mind this color scheme. I like the dark color, the pink color, the laurel green color. But let's see. Oh no, I actually want to go back to the old one now. Okay, so this these always look very pretty when you're on the palette and when you try to sort of take it over to your designs. Things go so bad, but we'll try to make it work as much as we can. So let's see. What color theme do I like? Apparently none of them. But okay, I'll try to stick to a primary color and then sort of take things away from there. So I actually do like this violet. So let's take this and let's put it here. So we'll just create some of these squares to keep our colors safe. And there we go. So we have our purple. Now I can sort of use like a bright light color. That'd be nice with it. Okay, first like this dark color will be very good for adding, but we already have a dark color, maybe no. Okay, maybe I should have thought of a theme a little bit beforehand because this certainly is time consuming. Okay. Let's copy you and take you here. Right. And usually anyway I'm never able to use the 6 colors, so if we have 2 colors to get started, that'd be pretty amazing. Okay, I'm very biased towards the blue color, so it has to somehow make it to my color palette. I actually like this one a little bit more than the one I originally picked. So Yeah, I think we have a pretty decent light themed color panel going here. Okay, so we can get that started. Um, that is, yeah, exactly. It's a good idea for habit breaking app. Okay, all right. Here we also have a question about the installation. Okay, but I'm not sure what the problem here is. So maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit, and then we can go ahead from there. Anyway, meanwhile, I'll also now I think it's time for me to start actually. Yeah. Okay. So now we have our colors. Let's give this the background of this color here. And for the splash screens, I always sort of like to use like a nice illustration. And there's really only one website that I always find myself going on to, and that's Undraw. So it's undraw.co. So let's go to Undraw. Let's pick our primary color, which here is this. And we can find nice illustrations for us, and they'll sort of get the color of the primary theme that we have picked here. So it's going to be pretty cool that way. So you all, if you all have like other websites that you all like going to, perfectly fine by me. Um, just anything that works. Okay, so this is Undraw. We can browse a bunch of stuff here. You give your color. So you can give your color and sort of changes the primary color for all the illustrations that they have here. And let's say we search something like learning, or since I wanted to use something related to tandem, nope, languages, anything that can sort of, I like this. It's a good way to just talk about language learning, the globe and a person. Looks pretty good to me. So we have a PNG installed here. We can just import it directly, but okay, maybe an SVG would be nicer, since then we'll be able to edit it a bit more. Yes. So there we go. Now it's actually possible to edit up bits of it by moving things around. That's the cool thing about using SVGs on Figma itself. It's yeah, it's pretty flexible. So maybe I would want to go inside and just sort of get parts of this character down here, and then we can move the earth a bit back up and stuff like that. Let's see how much of it is possible. Okay, so we're inside this frame, and we can choose to pick up this stuff. And nope, it's selected to frame. It's always so much. Let's see if I can maybe pick things up one by one and hope they move correctly. All right, and the legs. Nope, missed it. Got it. Just a second, final one. Yes. And I think we have, yes, we have the whole person in place. But right now they're moving within the frame. So maybe it's a nicer idea to take the frame with us and put it here and a little bit ahead, maybe, because we'd want to have some buttons down there. Okay, so let's pick this up, put it here, good space, and then we can make the frame a bit bigger. Okay, and now we can try to separate out the planet and the map. Oh no, each and every part of it. But we can do this. It's okay. It's a minute, but it's worth the effort when you export the whole thing and you can put it straight up in your app. Just 3 more to go. And we're done. Okay. All right. And there we go. We can take it up here. Now we can make the girl a little smaller. Now there's so many things you can do. You can like change colors here, and you have a lot of freedom. And I absolutely love playing with all of that. Okay. I mean, now they're not okay. Perfect. We're getting there. Okay. No, let's keep them on the ground. And yes, maybe I can also go ahead and give this give this top a little bit of color since it's so dark. Okay. Nope. Sorry, this is you just get obsessed with the vision and you have to bring it to life. And that's sort of happening here. And voila, here we go. So now we can sort of make we can put the app name somewhere at the top, and then we can put like a button here that says get started, login, something like that. And that should be pretty cool. I'll try to give this whole thing a white background instead, and then maybe our colors will pop up a little bit more. So here we go. And let's make these corners a little bit rounded. We can go a bit more. And yeah, here we have a clean button. And let's fill this with one of our colors. And now we can say, maybe this is the point where we can prompt people to sign up or log in. So this would be our space, and just editing things here and there. And let's make a login too. Okay. Put this a little down here. Since in the beginning we'd have less users who'd already be there, it's maybe nicer to have a sign up button that's bigger, and then later on when you have a bigger user base, the login button can be more primary, because right now we want like more people to take the action of clicking on the sign up button and making sure that they sort of go there. So yes. Okay, and here we are. We want somebody to log in here. Just a little bit of underlining would be nice, and giving it a separate color. Okay. Now that's going to be our link to login. And since we're using Firebase in like when we meet later, we can also try to have different login options. We can just log in or sign up by email, or we can log in, sign up using Google, Facebook, Apple, so much stuff we can do there. So it's funny, that's completely true. And honestly, still, and when I started working, it definitely used to happen quite a bit, but it gets better. Yeah, it'll definitely get better with time once you get the hang of it. um I still feel there's like the colors are maybe not right, and I'll try to oh, okay, I like this better already. Yes, a little bit life. That blue was a bit too dull. I sort of like applications which are lively, and especially when you're making something for learning, I don't want it to look super depressing. But again, like I said, my aesthetics aren't the best, so there's definitely that. Okay, so let's give it a cool name, but Um, right now, I'll just call it something like this, but it definitely needs a cooler name. Maybe by day 3, we'll come up with a good name. Uh, yes, so a cute font is what's needed now. Let's see. Let's see if we can find something that um I know this is not exactly mobile app development, but I've honestly seen that I cannot start coding till I don't know exactly what I'll be making. So now we have to go through the whole process of first bringing our vision to life and then coding it. That's the fun of being a developer. You get to do everything by yourself. And it looks like all these are little meh. I don't know why we have so many barcode. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Might use them later. Language tandem might actually be able to work with this. It's a little different, and we can give this. Okay. And let's give it some cheesy line like find your language learning partner from around the world. Yay. And this doesn't need to be that big. And 20 and cool. Okay. Obviously, this is not the font that it's going to live in. Let's go back to our nicer fonts. Nope. Okay. We can maybe make this a tad bit. Yep. Cool. Now let's place this somewhere where it doesn't take language learning partner from around the world. Okay. Something's sort of trying to come along here. Are all of you also sort of designing your mobile apps at this point, or are you just watching me design and fail very badly right now? Maybe give it a stroke which is a little bit lighter. Let's see how that looks. Not that bad, but I don't think everything's coming together right now, but I also don't want to be now wasting too much time on this. So maybe we will get this party going. Okay. All right. Maybe it's not that horrible. Just filling this in with nope. Okay. I do want to make this like dark themed, but I guess that might get a little bit too dark for this design. So let's go back to okay. It's going back to white since that seems to be the way forward. Uh, just watching you go, Figma. Makes sense. It's entertaining to see other people just, fail miserably at designing a proper mobile application. So that's perfectly fair. Okay, let's say that this is our splash screen, no matter how horrible it looks. But let's make another frame here, which is not going to be this tiny. Let's again go back to our pro. And yeah, let's see this now. This is our splash screen. And what we want to be making next is I'm sort of going to skip through the login and sign up screen, since that seems to be a little bit too generic. And let's focus a bit more on like what would happen if the user actually signs up. What would they see? So the first thing would be that would be nice to sort of have would be their profile page right now. So let's take something again a little generic here, maybe an eclipse for an avatar. And so we will call this like your language profile, and you can sort of put name here. I just want to go ahead with Jane Doe, easiest name to give somebody. um yeah, and we can um or and so there's one way to go about it would be if you just sign in, you already gave your name, and once anybody signs in, they get greeted by the app like, hey, do you want to fill more details about yourself, so let's try to do that actually. um let's leave the let's make it maybe very tiny. There's so many ideas playing in my head. It's sort of hard to wrap my head around seeing which one to go ahead with. But let's try to do this. So let's just say this. Um, okay. Yes. Tell us more about your language learning journey. Okay. Don't worry, we'll also come to like the coding part very soon, but we also have 3 live streams to do. So maybe this one is more thinking and deciding what to do, and then later on we'll do more coding for sure. Yes, so this can be center, and we can greet Jane. Hi Jane. And this can get a little bit bigger. And okay, I definitely need more font suggestions here since I'm so not happy with anything that's going on here. So does anybody have suggestions for a nice font that I can use here for all the text that I'm writing? I sort of want to steal something from Apple, but I don't want my app to look too Apple-esque. So yeah, I am glad that you all are, enjoying so much just watching me do Figma. Um, you can find phones here. Yes, that's a great website to find phones. But again, it's something very similar to what happens when I'm trying to find a color palette. It's never just never able to wrap my head around what looks good. But let's give it a go. Let's try to find a font on Fonts Google. So it's the okay. So fonts.google.com. Here we are. Okay, browse fonts. Here we go. So we want the property thickness, not too thick actually. Yes, slant, not really. Okay, Roboto obviously first. Monstrat, I have never tried it. Might want to try this. Okay, Roboto condensed. What were we using right now? We were going ahead with Roboto only. Yes. Um, Railway. Can try this. I sort of like the way the letters look here. So let's try railway. Let's try Poppins. What else? Mm, any other fonts that we're liking here? Try Helvetica. Okay. So we have a couple of candidates for trying out fonts here. Let's see what looks good. It's a bit of a pain to just share my tab, and I have to like keep closing the sharing screen and going back to it over and over again. So yes, we had a couple of things. Let's see if we have railway on Figma. Okay. railway. I don't mind it. It looks very neat, clean. Let's try Helvetica as recommended here. No, wait, did I type it incorrectly? Not here. They don't have. What? Do we want to write a petition to Figma? I know we can add fonts here somehow, though I'm not sure at this very moment how that happens. Okay. Wow, they really do not have Helvetica. So maybe let's just stick with Railway for now. So then I'll have to change that everywhere. This needs to go with this font. Okay, and let's make it more bold. Nope, why do fonts just not look nice when you make them bigger? I don't know how people ever manage to have a font for their websites or for their apps. Okay. Well, it's something. So don't want to get stuck here too much. Okay. Here, and I want to see what happens if we give it like a dark color, and let's make all of this white. I'm liking it a tiny bit more now. Okay, Unica. Maybe I can try Unica for this. I don't mind it. It's better than what we had before. So okay, let's stick with that for now, and let's keep going forward. Okay, so a couple of things that we might want to ask the user is the languages that they're already experts at. No, so the languages they know, and then we can ask them their levels. And then we can sort of ask them the languages that they're sort of interested in learning. So when a user joins, you already have an idea of what kind of stuff they would like to, gain from the platform. So okay, let's take what do we call them? Do we call them language skills? No. Language levels? No. I don't really want to like say proficient languages because we want to allow people to sort of level up. So let's just call it which languages are you familiar with? Let's keep it very human. So here we go. And yeah, people then just go ahead and they start adding languages and you know um yeah, maybe there's like a button here, and again we give it, all our buttons are going to be super rounded. So that's going to be a common theme around here. Okay, and now we'd want to add like an icon. So I have this plugin installed. It easily lets you drag svgs or pngs of icons onto your app. So we can pick add, and I just need like a add button. So yes, here we go. Perfect. And we take this up here. We can obviously change its color, which is why we have it here. Double click it, and now you can do anything with it. Alrighty, let's place it here, and So I'm just going to center this whole thing. Nope. Mm, Actually, maybe not center it so much and keep some space between them. Yes. So we can now allow people to add like a language proficiency. Yes, sort of, but again, mm, yeah, I think language proficiency. But I want like people to tell about the language proficiency later on once they've added the language on there. Okay, so which languages are you familiar with? Maybe this needs more padding. So just go smaller. And now once the user starts adding languages, we can create like these cards. So we can have something like this. This is like what will happen once the user has added it. Um, and we can have like these three levels of like basic, fluent, intermediate. Yeah, basically. So here we will add this extra effect of a drop shadow. Fill will obviously remain like a color like this. Yes. And then here we can often what I've seen is you associate countries and then you put like a language, like we put country flags and stuff like that. But these days I feel like it's very hard to pinpoint languages to certain countries. It's possible with some, but it's again not possible with the others. So we'll sort of try to avoid doing that. And yeah, maybe we just that would have definitely added a lot of color here, but yeah, wouldn't be as appropriate as I want it to be. So we say English and then we say fluent. And yes, this is definitely getting darkish. So um also we don't want to flood it with too many colors, so that's a compromise. We'll have to have English fluent, and then maybe I can copy this card here. Okay, what is this group? We I don't know how this group came into being, and I want to not have it be a group anymore. Yes, thank you. So yes, this and this we can group this up, and then we can just copy it across. I can add uh, the not many languages I'm fluent in. And then I can paste it again, and I can say that, yep, I can say French, and I can say yes. So that's sort of going to be like a little profile that everybody fills in. And then we should also create what happens when you click on this button actually, and so that'll be a separate screen. um, More like but whatever will come up will more be like an overlay at this point. So what we can do is we can just duplicate it and create like this box here, make it a little less opaque. Okay, and now let's sort of have this. I'm not sure if modals are actually a thing in mobile designs, because they're definitely a big thing in web. What are your thoughts on like modals on mobile apps? Are they do they seem user friendly, or do you think it's just it just clutters your mobile application too much if you have a modal come up and pop up on your face? What do we think about this choice? So right now what would happen is if I click here, this will show up and I'll have to sort of like, yeah, pick a language. Hmm. So yeah, something like this, basically. You have maybe, okay, let's say you have a drop down here and you then have another drop down under it, and that's sort of what will pop up. I call this a modal because, wait, I'm not sure exactly how we pronounce it, but yeah, that's what I've seen being used around. uh, so this modal, like a pop-up box, basically. Sorry, yeah, that's easier. Uh, okay, let's try this. And then later on we can see if it doesn't feel natural, we can remove it and replace it with something else. So somewhere here we can put it. And wait, I'm thinking if there's a better way of simplifying this UI, so that there are not so many steps. Yeah, I sort of agree that pop-ups can be a bit annoying, and it might be nicer to get rid of pop-ups. Okay, so let's think of how that can be done, like how you can add a language without actually having a pop-up come up. Mm, Pop-up is cool if it has a good design. Okay, so we are definitely confused here about how pop-ups are. Okay, now so because I can't think of anything else, I would just say that we go ahead with a pop-up. And once we do think of something better, we'll go again and change it in code. These things happen all the time. So, okay, let's make this super quick. I'll try to increase my speed, um, given I'm not very fast at this. Yes, okay. So we'll have to stick with the rounded. Unfortunately, don't want to do that everywhere, but consistency is key. All right. So this and this, and we want there to be a drop down. So let's quickly create a polygon. Perfect. And let's rotate this. Could have rotated this right here. Couldn't I have? Wait. Yep. Okay. Perfect. And here we go. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. So there we go with our pseudo drop down list. And wait. Okay, so this is going to be a group. And yes. And okay. I'm going to make my life a little simpler. Now let's get a cross here so that that's like the exit. So come here, cross. Okay, so I'll give myself like 10 more minutes and then we will try to start getting something on the coding end as well. Close, quit, anything? Seriously? Yes. Okay. All right. Perfect. Sorry. Okay. And I'll literally call it okay. Oh, so interesting thing that when we have like components and then we try to add more stuff on top of it, it just goes on like the wrong layers. So then stuff can get a bit bad. But let's just add text here. Okay. And all right. And now we need to tell what this does. So, very interesting thing in Figma is like you can also edit all the shapes easily. So, if there's stuff that um, you need to change about like a simple figure, it's very easily possible to do that. So, say I want this and I create another point, and then between this and this, I just go ahead and delete. Yeah, no, not what I wanted. Because it looks like we have two polygons residing here, which shouldn't be the case. So we'll delete this. And yeah, let's come and edit this one now. Let's add a point here. And we have this point here. And we now want to delete things in between. Okay. That didn't work as expected, but we can do it. Let's try again. So between here and here, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Nope. Starting again. I'll select this point and this point. Nope, doesn't select. All right. Take 45 and hoping we can delete it this time. Never mind. Looks like giving up in interest of time. We'll make it a basic field instead. Okay, so let's call it language, and this goes here, and the other field we call it proficiency, and goes here. So from okay, so from my angle, this looks super big. The font and the spacing is really not proper. So we can fix a bit of both. All right. So language. Yep. And we make these a little bit smaller. That should do it. Okay, so very basic, simple screen of what happens if you click on this button, what you do here, and now we have a basic idea of what the user profiles look like. What is the plugin used in it? Oh, so the plugin that I used for the fonts, if that's the plugin you mean, then I was using Material Design Icons. And if you were asking about something else, then I have not been using any plugin apart from that. Okay, so now let's look at the cool thing about also prototyping here for people who are not familiar with it, obviously. So you can switch from design to prototype here. And what we can do is I can say that I go from here to here. So I can define that if I tap on this or if I drag this, what sort of action I want to happen. So I'll just say that I click this and this happens. Obviously, this is available in like various design prototyping tools. But yeah, it's just cool that Figma is on the web. You can work on it with your team. And yeah, I've sort of become like a brand ambassador of Figma at this point in the stream. I realize that, and I'll shut up about it. Okay, so now we have a profile, we have our splash screen. What we sort of want to do is now we create this place where people can actually find other people. So let's take let's take this. Okay, let's take another screen. And sorry, we still need to know that what languages this person is interested in learning. so that we can customize the feed a little bit more according to that. So let's take this. We go back to our design mode, since that's where everything lives. And now let's fill this in with let's stick to white. We're apparently making a light mode app, which I'm pretty sure half of you here are going to hate because, well, that's the stereotype that coders have to live with for all of their life, that we hate light mode. Okay, so this app here now asks the person, that's great. Okay, so we also need a next button. So let's make it push this button up here, and let's make this next very visible. So next. Yes, I'm a little lazy. I'm not using any symbols right now. And just, yeah, this just gets the work done. We know what we're talking about. That's great. What languages would you like to skill up at? Okay, so yeah, that's that. Trying to find if there's a way to actually word wrap automatically, or if I have to do it manually all the time. Okay, maybe it has to be done manually. You can't do anything about it. That's great. And all of this goes left now. Yeah. So, what are the skill up languages? Take this and okay, here we go. And again, like, we can use the same screen, so I'm not going to design it again. We can actually like just copy paste this stuff here. Why was I? That's great. See, we can just, what languages do you want to skill up in at? Languages do you want to skill up? Actually, I'll just end the sentence there. Which languages do you want to skill up? Never mind. Okay, here I can say I want to go to French intermediate, and I want to go to Spanish basic, and I want to go to Mandarin basic, being able to understand 5 words said. And yeah, that can sort of be like my language profile that I'm building here. And the great thing is, like, this button still, like, if we go to the prototype, this button still sort of points to here. So yeah, we won't have to code that again and again. But it can also get annoying when you're trying to copy elements which don't behave in the same way in the prototype. So it's a double-edged sword, sort of that way. Okay, so now we have basic profiles going here. And now, okay, so frame, new frame here. And now let's start talking about finding people who will be able to help you. So okay, so we take this and want to, all right. Let's say now we want this to like start looking more like a traditional app. Our story time is over, so we can come up with like our normal scaffolding if we want that, or we can have like the nav bar down there, or we can have like a menu on the side. So what I would want to do is keep like a 3 tab thing going on here. So we create a rectangle. Let's like, basic fillet here. And so three things that you would want to have is obviously okay. So we want to be able to look for people, we want to be able to chat with them, and then we want to just access our profile. So let's just keep it simple as that. No posting stuff, nothing of that sort. um so let's take a person, people, like multiple, we want multiple people. So let's there's such interesting people icons here. uh um hmm, can we take anything else that's far from the generic? Maybe not. People working together could definitely be a thing. um okay, let's, or it could be, we can also use like a, yeah, this, because we're finding people who can sort of teach us a language and have a conversation with us in that language actually. And we'll keep all these icons about 32 and lock it, and perfect. Yes, so this, and then we can have a chat icon thing. um hmm. Again, let's stick with this one and lock it in 32 again. And the last one we wanted to do was our own profile, and or we want to see like our progress. So let's have like um no graph if you want to see how your language knowledge is growing. No. Okay, yes. um Maybe something like this. Okay, now I can just center, no, I use this as reference and center line them. Okay, evenly distributed. Wait, 115. Yes, evenly distributed. And now let's just create some border lines between them. Okay, and again, this would have been a lot more in place if I just used like 3 rectangles. But yes, this is where we are at. Let's assume that these are 3 equal sized rectangles. Okay, so we do all of this stuff, and what would be more? Um, okay, so the chats definitely won't be the first thing that show up, or they could be actually. Who cares at this point? What more? What more? Let's actually start, yeah, building each of these pages. So if this was selected, this would definitely have a different fill. Oh, it's an image. We can't choose what to fill it with. So let's do the fun thing there then. We just fill in the part of the rectangle. Which again, now this would have been nicer if I had actually gone ahead and used 3 separate rectangles. Yeah. Okay. So this is the page that we're on, and now we can create our user cards or profiles. You can search for people, so we create like a search here. um, you can search plugin, yeah, yes, and search. Perfect. Okay, I'm just going to make this tiny. And yes. So there goes our normal search. And now what else we'd want to do is, yeah, just create like uh, create a reference card here so we can replicate that when we talk about users. So yeah, um, this, give it a bit of effect, curve it a little bit, and then here what we will do is we'll put a picture, an avatar. Here we'll put name of the person, and okay, cool stuff, and the languages that they know. So we will we can use like colors to define levels, and we can just say Korean and French and English. So these are the three languages that this person knows, and we put them here. And just, this is already Jane Doe, so that will become John Doe. And yes, so this would be our person card, and then we can sort of message them. Um, and the thing is that you will only be able to see people who are trying to learn a language that you already know. So that we can put like that layer into it, so that there's like a proper exchange happening while somebody joins the platform. Okay, so that is that, and just I'll add one more button here, and I swear we will get started with coding something. Um, okay, so add friend. No, I just need to write add. Okay, person, perfect, and put this here. Right. Okay, so this is pseudo what a bit of our language learning platform is going to look like. We have our front screens, login sign up screen, and we have a basic screen to search people, and we can build others as we go a little later as well. Now, I think it would be a good idea for us to get started with coding the app. So I'm going to open, okay, so let's minimize this, and I'm going to open Android Studio, and that's where we will be working from. So let's get started there. Share screen, and here we go. Okay, so we have this here. This Android Studio, this is an old project, doesn't matter. And once you have put everything into place with Flutter, you can just go ahead and say a new and a new Flutter project, and then it should show you the screen that you all cannot screen right now. Very nice. Share screen again, and let me just, okay. So this is why I do not enjoy sharing screens. It's not the most pleasant experience. Okay, so we have this, and I hope you all can see the screen now. Yeah, so we say that, okay, I'll go again from the start. From file, we pick new, we pick a new, we already want to start a Flutter project, so we say new Flutter project. This is the SDK path. I want to call it language tandem platform for people to learn from each other. It's blah blah blah. It's Android language, doesn't matter so much. I mean, yeah, we'll pick Kotlin and Swift, and we're only making for Android iOS. We could add web in here too, but styling for it is going to be a bit of a pain. So, okay, package name, sorry, wrong language, and yes. And it's going to create a new Flutter project for us. So just using the same window. And we see that a very basic app has been created for us. We can see how it looks by running it on the iOS simulator. So let's open that up. And it's still building up a couple of things here and there. So let's see what we have. So all of the main code that we're going to write resides in the library folder, the lib. So this is the main Dart file that we have right now. It's just a simple app, which is a stateless widget. So in Flutter, we can have a stateless or a stateful widget, and then we can sort of provide it a theme. We can tell it what the home page is going to be, and then this is our home page. So one thing that I usually like to do is just like separate things out into more files, since Flutter code starts getting like very big and very messy very soon. So yeah, let's wait for this to analyze and our simulator to open up. Okay, I'm going to use an Android simulator. Nope. Android Studio, but it doesn't open. Okay, so I understand sometimes Android Studio can be a little painful to work with. So maybe something went wrong with the installation, but like you already said, you installed it twice and it didn't work. So unfortunately, I'm not sure what could have happened here. So sorry about that. But I hope you're able to figure it out. Um, if not, you should be able to develop like on any other platform and just connect your device and use it as a, like, instead of using a emulator, you can also use your physical devices. So it should be possible to code without Android Studio as well. Okay, so failed attempt of trying to open my simulator, trying again. Quit it and start again. Let's see. Screen, and now just this window should be enough for the purpose of our stream. Yes. All right. So here we have, and I wanted to open my iOS emulator, and now it's opened up, but it's in a separate screen that any of you can't see. Marvelous. Okay. So to run your Flutter app, we just need to write Flutter run. And it should just make sure on its own that it runs your app. Okay, so building for mobile, and just going to quickly make sure I have the widget open here. So just 1 second, and okay, so yes. Pretty sure it's going to tell me Flutter not found. Yes, just what I was expecting. So let's go. And so this usually happens when you don't put the right path. So my Flutter lives somewhere. Let's see where it lives. Okay, so it actually lives in downloads. Okay. So we can just write the export. Yes. Now if I try to come back here to projects, this. Now if you do Flutter run, it's working. Good to know that. So it's probably going to take a few minutes to just get it running. When you are first installing Flutter, you might also want to run Flutter Doctor to see if everything works properly. Right now, it doesn't work because it needs to be, it's on the different terminal and this terminal doesn't know. So to avoid this, you can put it in a bash profile. I don't work with Flutter very frequently, so you don't find it there, and hence this problem. Okay, so as soon as this app starts running, meanwhile, we can do a few things. I can try to just like make things a tiny bit more organized here. So we'll call this one page screens, and one folder we can call it components. And then in the screens, let's put like a home.dart. And I'll do like a simple refactoring here. Is we'll just take this code from main.dart, and yes, a lot of it is just comments which is going to go away, but we have our stuff here and I can remove it from here. And then obviously it's important to import the material package, so we do that from here and all our errors are gone. Yes, so as we can see that the set state is getting called to change the state of certain variables that you give to a stateful widget. And here in this widget, this is just going to run everything inside build is just going to run every time any of the states are changed. So yeah, then this is your scaffold. It already has like an app bar thing. And then you give it a title. Then there is a body here, and so I'm just going to remove all of these comments because they're making the code super lengthy. Again, like I said, why Flutter is easy to use is because you have things like main axis alignment, cross axis alignment, which make it simple to just style your work easily. And yes, so now you all cannot see my screen, but let's try to show it to you. Okay. So just a second. Can I increase the font size? Yes, I can definitely do that. Let me try to just zoom it up in here. Okay, just a second. First, I would like to show all of you our dummy app. It's what we start with. So yeah, this is what we have. This is the basic app that you get. So the app bar, the scaffold that we were talking about is right here. Then you give it text, and this is a button that it's a floating button that is a widget in Flutter by default. So it's just very simple to put it in places. And this is just changing the state. So it's the most basic thing that you get, and we'll be playing around with this. Okay, so that was that. Let's go back. We now need code backup. Nope, not this. Okay. There. and here we go. Okay, so since we have this, yep, we also want to make sure a couple of things, like here we it can't find the home page anymore, obviously. So let's try to fix that. So now we have our home here. This is the floating action button I was talking about. And yeah, so in Flutter, we will be having a lot of comments that get added uh, by default. So, like the app bar here that you see, or the text here that you see, sort of helps to structure it. But the other remaining stuff we can remove. All this, like these comments that you see, the floating action button, this is not something that can get removed. Um, yeah. Okay. So, I hope this is better now for everybody. Like it's more visible. I don't know if it has become more or less inconvenient. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to provide it with a proper theme, and so we can sort of tell it that this needs to be the primary swatch, this needs to be the secondary swatch color, or the accent swatch color, and it'll try to take care of itself of it on its own. So if we start with like basic colors, we can just use the stuff that's already here. So if you use a deep purple as a primary color, and we can also use RGB codes and build color from that, but here for the purpose of um, just showing stuff and making it easy. But it's saying we can't use accent color and it shouldn't be used, and we should be using secondary instead. So I will say secondary, but again, secondary also does not exist. Wait, let's see, what did it recommend? Color scheme for all right, we'll try using this. And now if we see the app, which is just the emulator here, and if you are on the emulator, just do an R. Okay, you cannot see the emulator I'm at. That is super true. This is actually one of the most annoying parts of using of doing mobile development. It's more of a pain to get things starting than like the actual development itself. But we're there with you. It's going to get better. Um, I'm really struggling here with the restriction that you have on the operating system of what is considered one screen and what is not considered a screen. But okay, so I'll just go ahead and share like my whole screen window here. Okay, so what we have is this, and this is our emulator here, and we can refresh it by like we can reload it by clicking R. So yes, now we can see that it automatically changes the color for everything, so you don't have to put a lot of effort into thinking about what color should be where. Yes, so we can try to first build a couple of simple things that we already had for our design. And like one thing that's getting used is a card. So we can create a component, and let's go there, let's create a new file, and we can say user profile card, and we can create something like that. And we are creating a stateful widget, so it's just going to create an empty stateful widget for us. And user profile card, and there we go. One thing we might want to just add everywhere is the import, so let's not forget that. Please let me know if the font size is okay for everybody, or if it's a little bit too small or big. Okay. close this right now. And so we have a user profile card, and let's say that it's going to need two variables or two things as input. So because a user profile, let's imagine if we're building it from a list of data that we already have, then we want to be able to give every card like an image URL. We want to be able to give it sorry, the name and the language proficiency. So what we can also do is we can create a model for it. So let's try to create that. Okay, so I'm just going to take a simple example here, and yes, so here let's create a new directory. Let's call them models. And then we want to create like a new profile, and that will be user.dart. Okay. Now in here, I want to create a class, which is user profile, and a couple of things that it will need for that class to be. Okay. So this is not exactly a user, so I don't want to call this like a user. Let's rename this to refactor and rename. Yes, user profile. Okay. So now this will be like a constructor, and we give it the values here of the kind of all the values that we'll be taking. So let's make it a requirement to have a name, and then what else? Languages, and I think we need a comma here. Okay. Yep. And what else? We would like to have the image URL. Yeah, how else will we get those avatars in there? And then we will say that string name is a string and we don't want it to change. Then we have like a string array, or we can just make it a string languages and string image URL. Yes, so that's the sort of stuff that goes into like creating a model. A class here would definitely need to. Okay, let's just. All right. So yeah, now we have a very simple class in place. And let's make it, like let's allow serialization. So JSON serialization. Should start coming up. And yeah, let's hope that this is true. This is actually also going to help, like creating these models is going to help us later on when we create more, when we start connecting it to the database and we start connecting it to our profiles. So yeah, create class JSON. Okay, so right now we can't make it because we haven't done the right imports, but that will come later on when we add more packages here. So we have created now let's create a simple user profile. So first of all, what we would want to do is if we have a container, we wanted to have a text, an image. So let's start putting the children in here. A container can only have one child, and we want everything to be first in a row, and then we want it to be in a column. So let's make a row here, and then the children of the row are going to be two things. It's going to be an image. So we have something called a network image, and we give it the URL. And the other thing that we want here is going to be a column. So we have a column, and then again for the column, we give it children. And the two children for the column are going to be mostly text. So we have a name and then text here, which is languages. Okay, so let's check all the errors. Okay, so this is usually used in a combination with something else. So let's go and check the documentation because I don't speak Flutter that fluently. But yeah, let's go and check it out. So first, I'll stop sharing the screen so that it's not a whole thing. All right. Okay. So now we're here. Now let's go to the documentation and see how things would work there. Because, yeah, that's how we have to code all the time. Okay. So here in the Flutter documentation, we can find our widgets. So let's see what we have here. We have user interface, we have introduction to widgets, and this is all the basic stuff we have, row, column, container that we were using. Um, and somewhere here we have our material components. These are the more properly designed components that we've been using, so that you don't have to give it too many styling effects. And then the next thing that we have here, okay, this is not it. Yeah, we have the widget catalog. So let's say that I want to have images. So I see this image widget. And this is going to sort of help us guide as to how to put an image into Flutter. So where is the sandbox? Yes. So we can just use this image.network, and then inside of it we put the URL. So that would be that. And here we go. Let's share screen again, and voila. Okay. Yep. No, it's just the entire screen, and here we go. So children, we put the entire image, and then put the column. Now what is our error here? Nope. If the okay, so this, and okay, maybe that's just a warning, and it should still work fine. Avoid unnecessary containers. Okay, that's fair. We don't really need a container, but we'll get back to it, and maybe we will need it. Let's see if there are any quick fixes to this. There we go. Just needs it to be a const. All right. So we have like this user profile card. We'll add a state to it in a while. And let's just see how this would look if we put it in the home screen. So in the home screen, let's add the children under the text. Let's add a user profile card and make the key, and because that's how things work. Yes. Nope. How it's a tiny key. Okay. Let's see. Flutter key. assignment. Okay. I mean, we know what keys are good for, but what would the default value be? Or maybe we can leave it empty. It looks like we can, and there we go. So if we now open our simulator, if we go on the terminal and we reload it, then we can see that our card here has gone a little haywire because the image that we are trying to use is indeed very big. So what we would want to do is make the size of the image a little smaller, and just change things around there. So let's go back to our documentation and figure that out. Okay, and you all should come with me. Screen. Nope. No. So the next live is on Thursday, pretty much at the same time. We'll not be finishing the whole thing today. But on the next live, we will start to connect it with Firestore. So yes, that's going to be fun. Okay, so going back to our documentation. And here we go. So we want to resize this image because right now it clearly is super huge, and that's not how we want that to remain. So let's see. Fit is, we can ask it to fit, and we can also use it in this way, where we can probably then give it a size. So this might give us a little bit more structure using this format. So I'll copy this in there and put it up. I'll go back to sharing my screen in just a second. Okay, so we have our image, and now let's try to add properties to it. Fit, and what are the allowed? We also might want to see what are the allowed values for fit. Okay, so coming down here, we see the fit can take box fit values, and when we go to box fit, it's basically an enum, so it can take different constraints. So you can take contain, cover, fill, fit height. So we would want it to fit the height. Right now, we've not given our row or container any height, and that's exactly why I did not delete it right now, so that we can limit things a bit. So let's go ahead and let's give it a fit height. And so it's always going to be box fit dot fit height. Okay. And apart from that, we also want to give the container a height, and we want to limit it to say 70. So now if we go back to seeing, okay, so yep, let's come back. Let's see what we have here. And if we reload this and we come here, so now we can see that the image is still where it should be, and we have our cards. So we could do this, and we could put like a for loop and start displaying this card multiple times. What we would want to do here now is sort of take values from people. So sorry, from like the code. So we take string name, and we do string image URL. And what is the error now? Okay, so name would be name, image URL, we do the assignment here, and yep. So there we go. Yes, and we define these parameters here. Okay. Yes. And, um, okay. Yep. Cool. And what did I miss here with my 4 errors? Okay. Let's see what I missed. Okay. Truly picked the wrong language to be doing mobile development in today. Haven't used Flutter in a while now, and this was clearly this still clearly needs revision at this moment. So let's go and see how stuff works around. So okay, so we declared it this way. My bad. All right. So we'll indeed say this, and this is how we go about it. And sorry. And yep. Now this should all, and during super we don't need any of them. Yes. So now what we can do is we can use these values similar to how they've been used here. So here we can see that whenever we're using any of the state variables, it's using widget to access it, and which is why we can also only do it inside widgets. So we just do like a widget.title. So similarly here, if we have a profile card, we here will have widget.name, widget.languages, and here we would want to, instead of putting the whole URL like this, it will be, I might want to copy this and keep this here, and now we delete this. And why can't it find image now? Sorry, widget. Invalid constant value. Shouldn't be the case, or maybe I did miss something. Nope, looks like I did not. So okay, perfect. It's not a constant because the value is changing. Okay, so now we have ourselves a small user profile card which takes name, image URL, and languages. And if we just go back to our home, it's going to give us an error because we haven't given it any of these details that we say we need so badly. Languages. Right now, this is obviously very easily getting rendered by us, but we'll actually generate the string with the line. And the image URL that we had so graciously copied here. And is now gone. No, wait, it's not gone. It's here. And just copy this into our image URL. There we go. So now if we go into our terminal, we reload it. And what we see is obviously same user card, but now we can just go ahead and create multiple copies of it, and it's all going to work out fine. Okay, so we will just keep performing a hot reload. And now what we can do is we can put some sort of spacing around here. So let's take a profile card and let's say that we want to add a padding, or let's say we want to add a margin of 5 all around. So okay, so margin doesn't accept numbers. We use edge inset geometry. So edge inset geometry, edge insets all, and then inside all we give it a value. Edge insets geometry dot, what are the values available to us? Okay. Let's go again and see the help that it gives us. Okay, so margin requires edge insets geometry, and yes, and we can't go directly in there, so we try this, and let's put in interesting how this gets used. And the third value that we have here is going to be what? In terminal type. Okay, this is something I've completely forgotten, or Flutter has really changed since I last tried to use it. Okay, let's read up about how to add these margins. So let's go ahead with margins. Oh, sorry, on screen share. Thank you for joining in. Good night. I understand how late it must have been in many countries right now. So completely understandable. I'm just going to try to fix the margin, and we're going to end this stream today. And I hope to see you all later in another stream so that we can finally go ahead and fix it with a database and do some other cool stuff with it. Okay, so let's go to our favorite website of the year. Sorry, of forever, like literally. And let's see what Stack Overflow tells us. So for a layout, for a margin, we need to do edge insets, which is exactly what I was trying to do, but it wouldn't let me do it. Okay, so we will try edge insets with, let's just copy this line of code and see if this works for us. Okay. Alrighty, let's come here and let's do a margin. Perfect. So now this works for it now. And left right is not the only thing that we need to change. So top we give it 5.0 and bottom we give it 5.0, and actually 2020 might be a bit too much for a card that's supposed to be full width. So here we go. Now we refresh and we go to the simulator, and this looks a lot neater than what we had before, but there's still a couple of things that need to change. Like the names, they shouldn't be like in the center so much. We can increase the font a bit. Maybe we can add a little bit of spacing. So very cool thing here is that you can actually just add like a box, which is like a spacer, and I think you can give it like a flex one, or you can just create like a box here, which will add space between the two children. So we'll try to this and a couple more in our next session. We're already sort of at time, so thank you so much everybody for joining. It's been so much fun just streaming and talking to all of you. I hope you all had fun. Today's stream, I agree, with a little bit all over the place, but next stream is going to be a bit more put together. I'll do more of my homework when it comes to Flutter, and I hope to see you all then. So it's on Thursday. It's at the same time, but just half an hour later. So yeah, see you all, and hope you have a very good time of the day or night for you. Bye bye.